He was just a struggling single dad, barely managing to raise his little daughter alone. One stormy night, when he opened the door to a shivering homeless girl crying on his porch, he never imagined that the decision to let her stay in one spare room would change his life forever. What he didn't know. She was the daughter of a millionaire CEO, hiding from a world that judged her not for who she was, but for what she owned. This is their story. Ryan Mitchell had never believed life could feel this heavy. After losing his wife 2 years ago in a tragic accident, his world became one of endless responsibility and silent tears. His little daughter, Emma, was only 6, and she was the reason he kept moving forward every single day. He worked at a small auto shop during the day, fixed broken engines, and at night he'd come home to cook simple meals, help Emma with her homework, and tuck her into bed with stories her mother used to tell. Money was always tight. The bills kept piling up. The spare room in his house remained empty, and sometimes he thought about renting it out, but strangers around his child worried him. One rainy evening, after a long exhausting day, Ryan was about to close the curtains when he heard faint sobs outside. He hesitated, thinking maybe it was the storm playing tricks, but then he opened the door and saw her, a young woman in her early 20s, drenched, her clothes clinging to her skin, her eyes red from crying. She looked lost, broken, and terribly alone. "Please. I don't have anywhere else to go," she whispered, her voice trembling. Ryan's protective instincts kicked in. He glanced at Emma, who was peeking from behind his leg, curiosity mixed with fear. Against his usual cautious nature, he invited the girl inside. He gave her a towel, a cup of tea, and sat her down near the heater. She introduced herself as Lily, but she avoided telling much about her past. All she asked was if she could stay just for one night, in exchange for helping with chores or paying rent if she ever got the chance. Ryan looked into her eyes. He saw something more than desperation. He saw a soul carrying a pain he couldn't yet understand. "You can stay," he said finally, "but only if you let me help you find your footing again." Days turned into weeks. Lily stayed, helping around the house, cooking meals, reading bedtime stories to Emma, and slowly becoming part of their small family. She laughed with Emma, listened to Ryan's struggles, and worked part-time jobs quietly without complaint. Yet, Ryan noticed how at night Lily sometimes cried silently, thinking no one could hear. What Ryan didn't know was that Lily wasn't just any homeless girl, she was the daughter of Edward Chambers, one of the wealthiest CEOs in the city. But Lily had run away. She had grown up surrounded by money, luxury, and privilege, but not love. Her parents fought endlessly, and her father, though powerful, was cold and distant. She had everything material she could ask for, but never freedom. One day, tired of being treated like a business asset instead of a daughter, she walked away with no plan, no money, just the desire to live like an ordinary person and find who she really was. Living with Ryan and Emma gave Lily something she had never felt before, a home filled with warmth, not wealth. For the first time, she felt like her presence mattered, not her last name or her father's empire. She saw how Ryan, despite his struggles, poured his entire soul into raising Emma with love and values. It made her realize the meaning of true richness, but secrets have a way of coming out. One afternoon, a black car pulled up outside Ryan's modest home. Men in suits knocked on the door, asking for Lily. Emma clung to Ryan's arm, scared, while Lily froze in place, tears flooding her eyes. She confessed the truth, she wasn't just a simple girl trying to survive. She was the only daughter of Edward Chambers, who had been searching for her for months. Ryan felt betrayed. He had opened his home and his heart, only to find out she had lied. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked, his voice breaking. "Because you treated me like a person, Ryan," Lily whispered. "Not like an inheritance, not like a name on a newspaper. Just me." The tension between them grew. Lily's father offered Ryan a large sum of money as thanks for protecting his daughter. But Ryan, proud and hurt, refused. "My home isn't for sale," he said firmly. Lily, however, didn't want to go back. She wanted to stay with the only family who had shown her what love truly meant. It was Emma who solved everything, in her innocent childlike way. She hugged Lily tightly and said, "You're my big sister. Don't leave us." That night, Ryan and Lily talked for hours. She explained her reasons, her loneliness, her desire to escape the golden cage of her life. Ryan finally understood. He realized Lily wasn't running from responsibility, she was running towards something real. Toward love, over time, Edward Chambers too began to see the change in his daughter. He noticed the happiness in her eyes when she was with Ryan and Emma, a happiness no amount of wealth had ever given her. Slowly, he softened, learning from Ryan's example of simple, honest love. Months later, Lily chose to stay, not as a runaway, but as a woman who had found her own place in the world. She pursued studies, helped Ryan with Emma, and rebuilt her relationship with her father on new terms. Ryan, once a broken single dad, realized that sometimes opening your door to a stranger can heal wounds you didn't even know you had. Lily, once a lost heiress, discovered that true wealth isn't in millions, but in moments of love, family, and belonging. And as the sun set one evening, with Emma playing in the yard, Ryan looked at Lily and knew sometimes the family we choose is the one that saves us. Sparkle's message for viewers: true richness isn't in money or luxury, but in love, kindness, and the courage to open your heart to others. Sometimes the people who enter our lives by accident are the ones destined to change it forever.